A very good morning to you, Ayanda and Michelle. A very cold morning in Cape Town this morning. We've seen the little ones braving the weather here in Milnerton. We've been seeing them coming through at Milnerton Primary. We've been seeing parents as well, just speaking to them, and they've been expressing how they're feeling about their children returning to school. Remember, some parents have decided to actually bring their children back to school, even though we know there's a portion of parents in South Africa and in the Western Cape as well who've decided to not take their children back to school. But I do have with me Mark Sparse. He is a parent, a very excited parent, seeing your child coming into school this morning for the first time. First of all, Mark, talk to me about the feeling of seeing your child walk off again, going into school after such a very long time.
It's real strange. I don't know what we're going to do for the next 5 hours without his little voice running around in the house and Peppa Pig playing all day on our screen. So it's going to be very strange. And to see him walk back in there was a bit heart-wrenching, but we'll leave it in the Lord's hands.
All right, so now let's talk about the thinking behind you allowing your child to come back to school. And I know a lot of parents that I've been speaking to have been highlighting the risks. How do you feel about all of this?
So with COVID, until we have a vaccine, there's always going to be an element of risk. The thing that made us feel comfortable to send our son back to school was the headmaster, the reassurance he gave us, the plans that was put into place, informative he was to let us know every step of the way as to how we were going to social distance, how we were going to follow protocols. Those type of things made me feel a lot calmer and more relaxed and confident to send our son back to school. I do feel for parents who don't have that type of schooling system or come from an underprivileged situation where they're not having the type of access that we would have.
And have you been speaking to your child about COVID-19? Do they understand physical distancing? Do they understand that they have to keep their masks on? And how young is your child? And do you think that is going to be possible for the age?
My son is 6, so we have been speaking about social distancing and COVID-19. The thing that he found difficult was that every morning he would come out to this field, and the first thing he would do is put his bag down and run onto the field to play football, to embrace his friends, to hug them. The one concern he had was he's upset that he won't be allowed to share his lunch, because as kids they would sit together and share their lunch. So not having that social aspect was a bit upsetting to him. However, he's excited to be back at school just so he can at least see his friends, even though he might not be able to engage with them, so he can at least see them. So we've been setting the expectation from early on, but that's all because we've been getting constant communication in order to set that expectation.
Lastly, Mark, before I let you go, talk to us about the decision, or rather the decisions collectively that have been made not only by the Western Cape Education Department, but by the Basic Education Department. We know a lot of parents have a lot to say regarding the Minister, Angie Motshekga.
Good morning, Angie. I hope you have a wonderful day. Have some coffee. Today's going to be a long one. But I disagree with some of the decisions we've made. I disagree with having so many classes or grades coming back together at the same time. I think it should have been a more of a phased-out approach. I hear what you're saying in terms of trying to bring kids back to help stop kids dropping out of school, but that's a social ill issue. The reason why they're dropping out of school has got nothing to do with the education. It's got more to do with what's happening at home and what this virus has done to the economy, how people are not able to sustain themselves. So that's not an education issue, that's a social ill issue. And a different approach should have been taken for that than putting kids in high-risk situations. But I have to say, I feel for those parents who are at schools that don't have the PPEs yet, where social distancing is not possible. I mean, certain schools have 1,000 kids on the ground. How do you social distance 1,000 kids on the ground? She was saying, get creative. It's not summertime where we're going to sit out in the park. It's winter. You need to be indoors. So that for me was a bit disappointing.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. And good luck to your child as he comes in at Milnerton Primary for the first time after being at home, and of course a lot of parents who were already getting used to homeschooling. But I think I do again need to put it on record that parents do have the option of not taking their children back, and many of them are now looking at those ways to apply at the basic education department. Of course, those reasons that they give must be in the best interest of the child. In some instances, those children need to at least have underlying health conditions for them not to return back to school. But that's where we leave it for now with Mark, who's also a parent here. Back to you in studio.
Right, Athi Mtongana, our reporter, live to us there from Cape Town in the Western Cape outside Milnerton Primary School.